then share it with somebody. But you will know that that information has become your property only if and when you take the responsibility to teach somebody about the things. Unfortunately enough, we say those who cannot do teach. It's the worst crime or the worst phrase that was ever said. In conclusion, let me in conclusion say the following. I wish I could place an ad on every newspaper of the world or on the web, or under Lost and Found, we would say, yesterday, I lost a golden day, where every hour was decorated with 24 diamond minutes. And every minute was decorated with 60 ruby seconds. But don't look for that day. That was yesterday. That's gone. What did you do yesterday? What are you doing today, as we said earlier, to pave the way for tomorrow? You've probably heard this before, and it's only half the sentence that's a cliche. Since today is the first day for the rest of your life, make the commitment, ladies and gentlemen, to take life seriously. Because life is God's gift, graciously accepted. Life is a mystery, unfolded. Life is an opportunity, take it. Life is a duty, proudly and responsibly performed. But most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, life is a marathon with an unknown finish line. You are the only player in your own Super Bowl, and there are no timeouts, no replacements, no substitutions, and the clock never stops. Life is not a race to come in first, but one of quality, dignity, trust, and respect to do your best. Thank you, and God bless you. Questions? When my students don't ask any questions, I usually submit my resignation to the dean and I say I'm not a good teacher, I can't teach, I'm out finished. Okay, so question right here, yes?
Is there any specific reason as to why at the bottommost here you have the saying adopt a new philosophy, spelled very differently?
Second person who says that. Is there a reason for spelling philosophy in the triangle on the back, the other side? Bottom right, smaller triangle, the word philosophy has been spelled with an F instead of a PH, if you noticed. You see that?
Yes.
The reason is that triggers discussion just like now. And let's face it, a PH and an F is still being pronounced the same. Is that what the real problem is, or adopting the actual philosophy? Think about it. Develop a philosophy and make sure that your people follow it. Whether you spell it with an F or a PH or however you're going to spell it is immaterial. That is the point, and thank you for bringing it up. Any other questions? Yes?
I have a comment and a question.
A comment? Oh, yeah, sure. Okay.
The leadership is management. Top two items. Also, having a vision, inspiring, related, I think. Vision is the most important. Then articulating the vision inspires people.
Excellent.
But one thing that's not there though is spreading having good values. People follow some of the good values. Just following money is not part of leadership. So I think that's one of the things.
Good point. Thank you. Thank you. So, you folks follow the comment? The top two elements, the vision and the inspiration, are excellent, but the word values is not in there. Okay? So, thank you. Any other questions or comments? As I said earlier, folks, I don't have solutions. Okay? As I said, if you came here for a cookie-cutter type of quick reply to your questions, it may not be the case, but I do have food for thought. Yes? No question? Okay. Everybody has one. Everybody. They have just about. Yeah. Yes?
When you're working and you don't see the leadership,
When you're working, I'm sorry?
when you're working in an operation and you don't feel you have good leadership, how do you push up? How do you lead? How do you fight for the
Okay, when you have a leadership position, how do you show it? How do you implement it? How do you push people up?
No, how do you push up?
Oh, above you. Okay, yes, that's an excellent point. Folks, that's a very profound statement. Unfortunately enough, most of us are between our employees who are asked to implement and the top level management that wants those results and numbers. Am I correct? That's what you're talking about, right? So now, how do you push up? Well, that begins with a philosophy. Have top level management buy in first before you start implementing anything. If top level management does not buy on the things that you want to bring in, you're going to have an uphill battle trying to accomplish anything. Once they come in and they endorse and possibly show up, folks, many times in my training, one of the requirements is that the CEO or the president or whoever the big honcho is will attend at least one day or two in there to show them that, yes, I'm going through the same type of training that you are. And that is one of my requirements. And thank God I'm at the point, I'll share this with you with another company. Allow me not to mention the company because Grandma told me if you don't have anything nice to say, don't mention it, okay? I walked into a company, it was in Franklin, Illinois, Franklin Park, I'm sorry, on Belmont Street. The last, once you go all the way down to the end, because there's a train going down on the right-hand side. I was recommended, I'm not going to mention the company's name, okay? Just describe it. So now I was recommended, so I went in, we made the arrangements, so here I have an appointment to go in. I go in, there's a gate, and as soon as I approach the gate, the guard comes over, and until he came, I looked to my right, and I saw a big sign. Listen to what the sign said. Leave your brains here. We'll be returned to you at 5 p.m. True story. Immediately I thought to myself, oh gee, what am I up against? So I go in, and believe it or not diplomatically very correct, one of the very first things that I called, demanded and called, was that sign is down immediately. But has been there from the previous one. I don't care. But that's how I don't care. You want my consultant? You want me to be your trainer? You want me to be with you? And it was a big contract too. High risk, but I had my values. I cannot just preach something and then practice something else. Are you following my point? Thank God that you're down. Hope that wasn't a comment, right? Any other questions? Yes?
From a hiring perspective, do you know what some of the best practices are to identify the best employees that can become great leaders of an organization?
I didn't mean to do this, but in replying to your question, somebody has written a book, Career Success, which addresses, Terry help me here, what are the 4 things that it addresses?
Networking, resume writing, interviewing, and professional portfolio.
Networking, resume writing, interviewing, and professional portfolio. It's on, you know my name, you have it in there. It's on Amazon. I only brought it here so it will be shown to you that at least the person that they brought here today to speak to you is also an author, and there's also another book here too, but you haven't asked about that, so I'm not going to refer to it. So,
But I will ask,
okay.
what is it?
I had another company, I had a company client, okay,
one thing.
company client. No, strike that, prior to that. I've been teaching several business management classes, both at the graduate and undergraduate level. And one of the courses that I teach or have taught is business planning and how to put together an effective business plan. After a while, when I was a reading professor 34 years ago, yes, I went along, but after a while, I just could not. Knowing what is needed out there, I could not teach that, so I decided to write my own. And it refers to, the title is, again, it's all also on Amazon, To Plan or Not to Plan. But in here, what you're going to see very different from the other books is that I also have a section about 20 pages at the end that refers to M&As, mergers and acquisitions. Because we plan our business, we plan the operations, how to hire people, who to hire, when or whatsoever. But not everybody thinks, because presumably that is taught at a master's or PhD level, how to merge corporations. But if you are asked, as I was by a client of mine, to put together a business plan that also incorporated M&As, mergers and acquisitions, I decided to put it all, and it's all in here. Both the business plan and the mergers and acquisitions as well. Okay. But going back to your question, now that I did my commercial for the night, the question again, please? And I'll repeat for everybody's benefit.
So what are some of the best practices from a hiring perspective to identify who are your next leaders of an organization?
What are some of the best practices to identify how to hire the best person, right? As I said, I will not give you a cookie cutter type of response because, again, that's a lengthy process that you go through. As a matter of fact, that book, if anybody, you can preview it, you don't need to buy it, okay? Actually, here, I'll say this, if anybody wants to buy it, go through me. I'm getting a $30 royalty, I'll deduct that. Go find out what the book goes for, and then you'll get it through me for $70, for $30 less. Fair enough? But when you go through the preview, you'll see that there are questions and answers in there. And some of the questions that we have for the candidates to ask or be asked and be prepared, the book, by the way, has 518 questions, quite a few of them role-played. Not questions and answers, role-played with interviewer, candidate. You can see it, the book is right there. So the question, for instance, may be by the candidate. When the employer, the interviewer says, John, do you have any questions for me? Absolutely. And here is pertinent to the question pertinent to your question. What has to happen for you to know that you have hired the best candidate? Aha, you got it. Okay.
So after 6 months, they're not jaded. After 6 months, they're not jaded.
Okay. You're right. So now, what will this person say? Well, we want this person to go, we want this candidate to walk on water, we want this person to do A, B, and C. Fine, from now on, your presentation, your interview should be on those 4 things. Okay? Actually, we have other questions in there too, to find out. That too? Okay, finish off. There's another question where there's a key word in there, and I'll place the question that a candidate may ask the interviewer. What would be some of the most important challenges that I'll be faced in this position? The key word there is I will be faced in this position. If the interviewer is not a professional interviewer, will reply, and likes you and wants to hire you, he or she will say, well, Joe, you're going to be dealing with this, with that, and that. Now you know you're in. Don't blow it from this point forward. If you're not in yet, he or she will say, the person we're going to hire, are you following the difference? But you put out the bait out there to see where you're headed and how you're doing. And in closing on that segment, you go to an interview. And before you do anything else, usually an interviewer might say, James, talk to me about yourself. And most people, folks, start talking about their education, if they're right out of college, or the things that they've done in the company. And I've worked for this company, I've done this, okay? And it usually goes in one ear and out the other. And then the interviewer says, Mike, tell me, what skills do you bring to the company? That's all he wants to know. The skills that you bring to the company. So, what do we suggest to these people? What are you going to find in there? When you're asked the question, John, tell me about yourself, I'll be delighted to. But what are you most interested in? My education, my skills, or my accomplishments? And zip it up. The person will reply, talk to me about my skills. About your skills. You know what your skills are, you mentioned. Now you give them exactly what they want to hear. Thank you for the opportunity to mention a couple of things there for your benefit. With that, I know that they need a little time, but Rick needs time for the books and a few other things. So unless anybody has any questions, again, I'll stick around. Thank you and God bless you. Thank you. Thank you.